What if India's fastest growing youth movement did not begin with a political speech but with a meme? It sounds unbelievable, but that's exactly what has happened. The Cockroach Janata Party, or the CJP, started as a satirical Google form, a joke, an internet trend, a response to a controversial courtroom remark. But within weeks, it had attracted lakhs of supporters, millions of social media followers, and eventually thousands of people on the streets. Today, that online movement has collided with real-world politics. The party's Sansad Chalo March saw heavy police deployment, detentions, tear gas, and a political showdown on the opening day of the Parliament's monsoon session. At the center of the protests are demands linked to the NEET paper leak, the resignation of Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, and support for activist Sonam Wangchuk, who recently ended a 21-day hunger strike after being shifted to a hospital. But beyond the headlines lies a bigger question. Is this a pivotal moment for Gen Z in India? For years, India's youngest generation has expressed frustration through memes, reels, and sarcasm. Unemployment, exam anxiety, and political fatigue became jokes online because humor often felt easier than anger. The CJP changed that. However, critics argue that meme politics can oversimplify complex issues. Viral trends often run on emotion rather than facts, making it easier for misinformation and polarization to spread. Online popularity does not always translate into meaningful policy change, and digital movements can disappear as quickly as they emerge. There are also concerns that turning serious issues into internet humor may weaken democratic debate instead of strengthening it. We have Mahendra Singh, senior journalist, advocate Gyanendra Mishra, political analyst, Seema Kausar, social activist, joining us. Thank you all of you for joining us. I'm going to begin with advocate Gyanendra Mishra. Talk to us, from this began in a courtroom. It began with a remark by the Chief Justice of India. Now here we are, and questions were raised at that time, as in all those people liking the CJP's Instagram page, all those millions, will they show up? Well, certainly you can see evidence that if not all of the millions, a huge chunk of them.
Yeah, thank you for Krishna. Thank you for having me on your show. So as you rightly said, what started as a satirical response to the alleged remark by the Honorable Chief Justice of India, nobody would have imagined that it will turn into such a massive street support for an issue which is closer to the heart of millions and millions of not only young students, but also their parents and family members. I believe that the government's inept way of handling the issues that is plaguing the country has resulted in a satirical online movement to turn into a sizable street protest, which all we are witnessing today. And things could have been, there's no doubt about it, that the things could have been handled in a much better way by the government. There's no two mind in saying that the continuous and successive paper leaks, not about only one examination, but examination per examination across the country, has made a mockery of our competitive exam. Students, their parents, their family members spend years and years sacrificing their routine life, compromising their own well-being by preparing the students for the competitive examination, because that is the gateways of entering into, a career in India, gaining employment in India. And they prepare, and when the examination come, we not only fear, but it is actually happening that there is a massive paper leak. And when the demand is made that the person who is in charge of education ministry should at least owe that responsibility, that yes, something is amiss, we accept that, and we are ready for a discussion, we are ready for inputs from the various stakeholders, and we are ready to set the things correct so that it should not happen. But instead of that, what we see is a total silence, a chosen silence on the part of the government on this very, spread demand that the accountability should be fixed at the first stage, and then should be ensured that the paper leak does not happen again. But instead, what the government does, government gives no response whatsoever. And this is a pattern as far as the present government is concerned. They feel that whatever the people demands, whatever the public see, if we don't respond, it will die its natural death. Let's give a picture that we are not concerned with it, we don't take you seriously, you will keep speaking, you will keep protesting for few days, few hours, few months, and the things will die down. This attitude of a democratic, popularly elected government does not augur well for democracy.
Okay.
Because if a democratic government does not listen to the sentiment of the people,
Yeah.
you are missing the very soul of the governance.
Yeah, Advocate Gananda Mishra made a very important point over there. The whether the momentum of these protests will sustain themselves over a period of time. Let me now bring in senior journalist Dr. Mahendra Singh into the conversation. Sir, what do you think? First, when all the skeptics have been answered with the kind of turnout that you saw at Jantar Mantar, do you think this has the potential to move forward?
Listen, this is a new kind of protest driven by technology. And you can say that this is as first started in Middle East countries. We all have heard about Arabism and all that protest, which you don't need the ideology to unite people. You don't need dedicated followers or cadres or any bigger cause to make people come on one platform. You just need a single issue to mobilize people, and this is what Popular Janata Party has done. That the examination, what the poor government record of examination as far as the leakage or other things are concerned, that exams are not happening at a regular time period. Then there are a lot of news about leakages and all that. So this a single issue which forced the youth to think that this government is not serious about their future. And you know, the issue is that now thousands or lakhs of people are chasing for few seats. So if you conduct examination on regular interval, the foolproof examination, then the students or the aspirants, they feel that
Right.
they may not be competent enough to qualify that examination. But
Okay.
having
Dr. Mahendra Singh, we're having a bit of an issue with the audio. We'll just fix that and get back to you quickly. Meanwhile, let me take this across to Advocate Gyanendra Mishra. Advocate Gyanendra Mishra, there is clear, anger out on the streets with these kind of visuals. Questions will be raised in the way the protesters were handled as well, and what essentially comes out of it. But this is not just about the resignation of the education minister. This goes far beyond.
Yeah, it's going far beyond. And again, the way the government is handling the current protest, again, showing a lack of sensitivity, and I would say also immaturity on the part of the government, because government's reactions are very knee-jerk, too little, too late, because we all heard that Mr. JP Nadda called the two representatives of the CJP for a conversation today afternoon. It could have been done much earlier, because what was expected and what was the basic demand of the protesters were that the government should invite us for a constructive dialogue, fix the accountability, ensure that the paper leak does not happen again, address the issues that is plaguing our educational system and examination system. And I don't see no reason, because the failure is obvious that as I said, exam per exams the paper are being leaked, and the government and the Ministry of Education is not in a position to control it, conduct the examination free and fair, which is the most fundamental duty. And if the protesters or the student demands an accountability, because in a democratic government, if there is no accountability, if no one is accountable for things going wrong, how the things will be set the right? Because you cannot expect that, it does not look normal that a person who is consistently failing at his duty, you would expect that at the next examinations everything will be set the right. So so in it, and it has been a tradition under the democratic government that if there is a massive failure, under the ministry, the minister responsible for the ministry should take the moral responsibility and resign. I don't understand why the government always make it in a prestige issue whenever a demand is made to fix for the accountability of the people in governance. Why the government always take it as a prestige issue? Why the government always gives a message that I am not concerned with I'm not concerned with the any concerns being raised by any section of the society? Why there is a tendency that if there is any protest against any government action, everyone who is protesting will be branded as anti-national or at least inconsequential? This is not how the democratic governance work. And this is what exactly we are seeing here. Mr. Sonam Wangchuk was sitting on an hunger strike for last 20 days. And there was not even a murmur on the part of the government
Yeah.
to address the concern.
Dr.
So
Mahendra
how
Singh,
sensitive you can be, that's the whole point. And
yeah.
if you show insensitivity, then it turns into the kind of anger that you are seeing on the protest,
Yeah,
on the street.
Dr. Mahendra Singh, a lot of this has to do with the way the government has dealt with the protest so far and dealt with the issue so far, per se, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. What JP Nadda did today, the government should have done it more earlier during the protest. So on the last day, when things were out of control, then engaging with the protesters was it was a late decision. So the issue is genuine. I can agree. The argument the government and the supporters give that there are many elements who are backing these protests. They are against the Hindutva ideology or right wing ideology. So, but the issue is real, and the government must understand that the issue affects lakhs of students and their family members. So government must have engaged with the protesters much earlier what they try to do it today. And I think that this examination issue, the job issue, is a issue which shakes up lakhs of students. It affects their life. It affects the life of the parents. So the number of suicides which happened after the cancellation of NEET, and the new issues which are coming up even with this examination which was conducted as a re-NEET. Even at that point of time, government never admitted that it has made any mistake. It was in a denial mode. So now I think government should respond. Government should try to improve the entire examination pattern, not only NEET but other competitive examination also. As I said earlier, that if you conduct foolproof regular examination, the issue will itself die down. But today, when lakhs of people are changing for few seats, and if you are not able to conduct regular examination, foolproof examination in a very transparent manner, then everybody is thinking that everybody is felt cheated. And that has mobilized people with the help of technology. And the youth has come on the streets of Delhi, and they have blocked the entire central Delhi, and they have marched to Parliament House. So government must recalibrate its strategy. This is not something like farmers' protest or any other form of protest. This is a protest which is directly related to youth, which are more than 20 million in this country. We are the youngest population. So government should have and must have, and even now it is not late. They should engage with the youth leaders and try to improve their examination pattern, try to check these leakages. You have to throw out the private agencies involved in conducting these examinations. So you have to do a course correction if you want to arrest a political damage because of this protest.
The only other thing is that Dr. Mahendra Singh, we have this time around, as you're saying, this protest is unlike any other protest because of the reason why you have a generation, the youngest generation, which so far have not been the most politically active, now becoming extremely politically active. And in that sense, this will be a pivotal moment for not just when it comes to examinations and NEET and re-NEET, but, the education system per se, and more importantly, jobs. We're yet to get to that issue.
Definitely, a lot of changes have been done in education system uh, under the umbrella of new education policy. And this entire, you can say, the student, their parents, they were out of any concentration process. So, and the examination pattern being changed again and again, the syllabus, the courses, the curriculum are being changed again and again. So sometimes you come with a 4-year UG course, sometimes you come with a 1-year PG course, 2-year PG course. This changes. So these frequent changes has generated anxiety among the youth, and and the failure to not conduct regular examinations. So this has generated anxiety among the youth and their parents, and that is the bigger reason for such a spontaneous protest, because these angers were building up. And the Cockroach Janata Party, they have given a platform which traditional parties fail to do that. And though even Congress and other party try to engage youth, but on a very ad hoc basis. And Cockroach Janata Party, because that remark was very demeaning, dehumanizing youth, and which, so it is very unfortunate that we were thumping our chest that we are the youngest nation in the world. This is our demographic dividend, and we have done something which has forced our youth to hit the streets. So the political class needs to rethink, not only the government but other opposition parties, that why they have failed to voice these concerns, which are visible on the ground and which are visible in every household, which are visible in every school, every university, every college. And they had to come with a solution, and they should think that how to ensure a foolproof, transparent, honest examination system. Not only NEET and all other examination, the recurrent news of leak, delay in examinations has made these youth restless. And you are right that the youth were being considered that they are not very politically active. They don't go for vote. They don't engage themselves in a political rally and all that. But these issues, when it comes to their career, their life, the political system has forced them to come to street, because at this point of time they had to think about how to make their career. And that was the reason they are not very active in political, you can say, the political mobilization processes, and they try to focus on their career, and that is the reason. But now you have forced them to come on stage and protest, and the result is before everybody, that the youth, which is considered, and as we used to sell that our young population is our biggest asset, what we used to call a demographic dividend. And this is the challenge, that whether we are going to make them a demographic burden or demographic dividend. And the entire political class has to respond to this, and government has a major responsibility.
Gyanendra Mishra, do you think there will be a response to this, an appropriate response to this?
No, I think, as I said, it is in too late, too little, and lacks the honesty of intention.
Okay.
I think it is, as everybody is saying, it's a very, very serious issue that impacts millions and millions of young students. The students are feeling frustrated, they are feeling cheated, because at the one hand, there is a complete lack of employment in the country. There is surging, the unemployment is surging. And when whatever opportunities are available, the student appear for that and they are again cheated by the system. And when they seek an accountability and correction of the system, the government response is almost nil. And this is where the problem lies. I think government is not appreciating the feeling and anger that is simmering in the young student of this country because of the various level of malaise which has plagued our education system. It was a waking up call for the government. It should have been the waking up call for the government that the entire system needs relook, needs realignment, and there has to be a paradigm shift in terms of generating employment, conducting the examinations in a fair and proper manner so that the people don't feel cheated, people don't feel totally depressed, dejected. And this is exactly what is happening. I think what should have been that even if the Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan does not resign, I think if the government would have, proactively engage with students and other stakeholders at all level, at the first instance admitting the mistake that yes, there are there are the cracks in the system, there are the slip in the system, and that is why the successive paper leak is happening. We need to correct it, and we are ready to invite and discuss all the stakeholders and then look at the education and the employment as a larger issue. Because if you don't address that today by force, you may
Right.
quell the agitation today,
Yeah.
but the anger will then find its way somewhere in this way or that way to again be come on front.
Yeah.
So everyone, all of us should really, really, we should not make it in a political issue or political one-upmanship. I think everyone should come together and address this very burning, very pertinent, very germane issue.
Absolutely. We'll have to leave it at that. Completely out of time here on that conversation. Advocate Gyanendra Mishra and Dr. Mahendra Singh, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on Unmissable on News.